All right, so staying in the garden, but let's pick up the parquet, put up the boards, talk some hockey. You like that one?
That was good. Clever.
All right. The hockey playoffs, stone's throw away. That one wasn't as good. I know. I couldn't think of anything to say. Bruins clinching the Northeast last night on a penalty shot by Michael Ryder. So you can see right here. Guys, last year the Bruins became only the fourth team in major sporting history to lose a 7-game series after being up 3-0. Is this team more prepared for the playoffs, or are they going to be out early?
Oh, I think they're much more prepared than last year. You can see the moves they've made at the trade deadline. They're very serious about bringing this team up to a next level. They don't want to get stuck in the second round again, because then there will be all the questions. What happens to the coach? What happens to the core? What happens to the general manager? What's wrong with these players? Why can't they get past the second round? And I think this team is very serious about getting into at least the conference finals, if not the NHL finals. I think that they've improved greatly at the deadline with additions like Cabriolet. Also, their coach has been all right, but this year has really stepped up. And I know last year they had Tuukka Rask as a great goalie going into the playoffs, but this year Tim Thomas is just on a whole nother level. He's been the best goalie in the league all year round, looks unstoppable, and I don't see how they could lose before the conference finals at the earliest.
Yep, his save percentage, his goals against, just blow everyone else away. And something about this Bruins team, I think they sort of play with a chip on their shoulder. If you look at Boston sports and New England sports in general over the past, let's say, decade, who has been sort of the Achilles heel, at least in fans' perspective? It's been the Bruins. They haven't won a championship, everyone else has, and they're starting to get to that point where they're a deep playoff team every year. They keep improving, they keep getting more and more experience, and I think that they can make a serious run this year. They've beaten top teams, they've beaten Pittsburgh, they've beaten Philadelphia. If the season were to end today, we all know who they'd be playing in that 3-6 matchup. It will be the Montreal Canadiens, which is always a sketchy series, although the Bruins have done pretty well in the past couple years with that. But when I look at this, I see a Bruins team which is dedicated to winning. They know what they have to do. They're led by their goalie, as you said, Tim Thomas, who has been outstanding. He's been a great goalie throughout his career, but this year he's played a notch up. And just like a couple other teams that we've talked about already, they're sort of playing with a chip on their shoulder. They blew the best lead you can have, a 3-0 lead in a 4 wins and you move on series. They blew that last year. When they get to that point, no matter who they're playing, might not be Philadelphia, but no matter who they're playing, they're going to know, we got to do it this time. We can't get a lead. We can't blow it. We can't have a team who we're supposed to beat us. And I really think that with that chip on their shoulder and all this momentum going into the playoffs, I think they're going to be able to make a pretty deep run.
Yeah, I agree with you there, because they definitely have a huge chip on the shoulder. After blowing a 3-0 series to Philly, it's like they just dropped a bomb on every Bruins fan in Boston. It's just, seriously, I mean, just take a knife and stab it in their back. You've got to be more reliable than that. But I think with the addition of Nathan Horton and Tim Thomas really stepping up this year, replacing Tuukka Rask as a starter, I think they'll make a very deep playoff run this year.
Well, obviously losing to Philadelphia in Game 7 at home. The year before, losing to Carolina, Game 7 at home. Those 2 years of failures will give them more momentum, because they're going to keep wanting it more and more each year. I don't see any reason why they can't at least make the conference finals. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the Stanley Cup. I think they keep wanting it more and more, as do the Bruin fans, and I think they definitely look better this year than they did last year or the year before. I think they could definitely go a long way.
One major concern, I think, for the Bruins is, unlike any other sport where it's just wins, losses, the NHL does it by points. And you get a point if you lose in overtime or in a shootout, correct? And you look at this Bruins team, which has double-digit losses in shootouts and in overtime. And they have not been, if you guys have watched any games, they have not been reliable come that 5-minute overtime and that shootout. They haven't been the same team that they are during the first 60 minutes. And come playoff time, there's no reward for losing in overtime, losing in a shootout. It's no different than losing 10-0 in regulation. They need to be able to put it together. Their power play needs to keep working well. They've stepped it up a little lately, but during that losing streak they had just a couple weeks ago, it's real rough. They need everything to work out, and come overtime and come shootout, they need to step up, and they need to be able to pull off some of those wins come playoff time if they want to make a deep run.
And the Bruins have been a team this year who we've seen have a lot of success on the road, but they've struggled at home, something you wouldn't necessarily expect. Was that just a small glitch in their season, or is this going to affect them in the playoffs?
No, I don't think any of that will affect them in the playoffs. The playoffs is a whole new season. It's a brand new thing that they really say it's a second season, because that's what it is. You have to give credit to Cam Neely, who stepped up. He's been talking to the coach Claude Julien telling him who to play. He's the mastermind behind this whole season, in my opinion. He pulled off the trades, not Peter Chiarelli, let's be honest, guys. And I think with the aggression that this team has and this team's motivation to really get past where they've been before and take their team to a whole nother level, I don't think anything from the regular season will stop them.
And they've stepped it up as of late. They've been playing much better. And come playoff time, as you said, it's a whole different monster. It doesn't matter, home, away. Playing at home is always nice. You get to sleep in your own bed the night before. You get to have that fan support. And who cares about the regular season? Once you get to the playoffs, you have a little number next to your name. 3 is what it might be for the Bruins. And from there on, it doesn't really matter where you're playing, who you're playing against. It's just about your mental determination and your ability to drive through it.
All right, that's going to do it for this segment of K Sports Sunday. But on the other side, we're going to talk the Red Sox. And we obviously so far don't like what we see. So different opinions coming from everybody. Make sure you stick around for that.